Identify the aspects of your life that need the most urgent improvement. Now, this is not something that's as easy to do as you might think. Every one of us have things that we need to improve upon. Every single human being. I don't think that there is a person who could come to me and say, look, given I have nothing to improve. I think we can all agree, regardless of where that thing may be, it might be in terms of family, working on your relationships. It might be in terms of fixing the way that you interact with people at work, so your professional relationship with people. It might be the way that you do your work, actually being more efficient, delivering requests, your deliverables, delivering on time, make sure that you're meeting deadlines at work. It might be at school, making sure that you're participating more, making sure that you're present, making sure that you meet assignment deadlines, making sure that you study harder and study sooner for exams in preparation, right? It might be in sports, it might be in cooking your meals, it might be in whatever craft or hobby it is that you might be doing. Many of us have many things that require and need us to be always improving. However, there are things that need more urgent improvement, that need us to pay and invest all of our resources in that thing, because if we don't, we're going to lose something that is of great significance. We've often watched these movies, right, where you see they usually come out towards the festive season because it's a very family-orientated time, and you'll find these movies where there's a dad who's been living his life neglecting his family, and it happens to moms as well. And I think that's the problem with Hollywood, right? You cannot look for life in Hollywood, because Hollywood will make what sells. They won't give a true reflection of what's actually happening within society. But you often find a parent in these types of movies that is now on the brink of losing their family, and they're either focusing too much on their business and career, usually it's a business or career, or on their passion, right? Something that they're extremely passionate about. Or you find in others, unfortunately, that the parent is more focused on entertaining another person of the opposite sex. So they're engaged in a relationship that they shouldn't be. And as a result, they are on the brink. They are literally this close to losing their family. And some of us, it might not be that dramatic, right? However, what we might lose if we don't pay attention, if we don't reinvest and refocus our resources, we might lose something that is of equal significance, right? And those are the places where I would like you to take a moment and think about what are the things that need you to reinvest your resources towards them. For all of us, these things are going to be different. And the reason that I want us to have this conversation at length and get into depth about this conversation, within this conversation, right, is because many of us might take for granted what are the things that we need to focus on. The most obvious of things are things like studying the Word, working on your relationship with God, because you have been so negligent of God and your relationship with Him that it's starting to show in the people that you've acquainted yourself with, in the words that you've now finding so easy to use, in how casual you are about issues of scripture, and how what used to be your core values are now things that you feel can be debated easily, right? You debate around them. Oh no, marriage is not really serious. Not everyone has to get married. And I use a ridiculous accent not to make a mockery of you, but to actually show an example of how you have come to a place where you're taking the things that you should be taking seriously lightly. And that's a sign that you might need to reinvest time and resources into your relationship with God. You might even have to buy devices that make it easier for you to study the Word. And you might need to restructure your lifestyle. What time do you wake up and what time do you go to sleep? Just for the sake of making it possible for you to be consistent in reinvesting in that relationship with God. But investing in a relationship with God is something that it's a nodoi, right? For the most part. Some of us do need to be reminded that we need to reinvest in our relationship with God. But for the most part, we all know that we have to do that. But there are some things that are very important for you to take a moment and pause and think about how significant and how important is it for you to invest time in improving this thing, because it is so significant. Usually for most of us, it is one thing, right? For most of us, it is one thing. And I would actually say it's important for you to just find that one thing, that if you solved that problem, the rest of your life would just fall in place and you wouldn't lose that one significant or many significant things. For some of us, it's our jobs. For some of us, we need to sort out our finances because we have too much debt. We have overwhelmed ourselves with debt to a point where we cannot even enjoy our money anymore. To some of us, it's the way that we interact and relate with our friends. We need to work on our relationships. Learn not to make everything about ourselves. Read books that talk about such issues, right? We need to acquaint ourselves with the idea of being selfless, the idea of being there for someone else. And I say this, I'm thinking right now that there was a time when I was going through a very rough patch in my life, and I expected a certain friends of mine to be there for me during that time. And unfortunately, they weren't. It was, to a certain extent, people that I did not expect to make me feel like they were there for me, who were actually there for me. But this particular group and set of friends were not. And not as much as I would have thought, right? And I realized later that perhaps I invested too much expectation towards them. But the thing is, I can clearly say to myself that they would have needed to work on that, right? And perhaps this is something that you might need to work on. Maybe when people lose someone in their lives, you're unable to be there for them. You have no idea what it means to be there for someone. And that's something very serious, because whenever someone in your life loses a person that's very dear to them, you are absent and nowhere to be found. Or the way that you show up is inappropriate, and it has more to do with you than it has to do with the people that you're showing up for, or you're just not sensitive to the situation. These are things that are very important for you just to sit down, and it takes confronting yourself and stripping yourself bare and examining what are the things that, how do you impact other people when you are present with them, right? And how do you impact, like I was saying, right? This is the point I was making from the very get-go, that it's so easy to assume that all you have to do is to sit down and read your Bible and every aspect of you will align to God's will for you. But unfortunately, that's not necessarily true. Absolutely, you should sit down and read your Bible. Absolutely, you should work on your relationship with God. And by God's grace, He will send you towards messages, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, right? He will send you towards people who will encourage you to better yourself in other aspects of your life. He will send you towards people who will support you as you work on certain aspects of your life. And as I said, it will differ for each and every one of us, because not all of us have neglected certain aspects of our lives to the point that we're losing something of great significance. And the point I'm making there is that it will not be the same for all of us, right? It might not be that you're losing friends. It might not be that you're losing family. It might not be that you're losing your spouse or your child because of your behaviors. But it might actually be that you're losing your sanity because you're not giving yourself enough time to relax. You're not giving yourself enough time and room in order for you to be able to manage the things that are the cards that you're dealt, right? Or the burden that you have to carry. These are very important things to sit down and examine. Ask yourself, what are the things that I'm likely to lose? Now, these things will differ for all of us, right? Not every one of us will have the same issues or will discover certain aspects of our lives that need urgent attention from us, that need us to improve upon them or to fix them, or else we're losing something of great significance. Now, what is something of great significance? How do you qualify something as, if I lose this, it will be something of great significance that I'm using. These are very obvious, right? If you're on the cusp of losing your business, losing your family, losing your children, if you're on the brink of losing your health, if you're struggling mentally and you're constantly having panic attacks, then that means you need to pause and pay attention to that thing. Start finding resources that will actually aid you in improving, that'll aid you in beginning to fix that thing, especially if it's something you were never born with, right? If in terms of your health, if it's in terms of you need to be more fit, you need to go to gym, you need to eat healthier, then you can do so, but start surrounding yourself with podcasts, with books, with people that are practicing that particular thing, so that you can create an echo chamber, which is so important. Echo chambers are very important if you are on a journey to improve on anything and become better at something. Creating an echo chamber will be one of your biggest assets to accomplishing that thing, right? Now, these are the things or the ways in which you can identify that something is of great significance. And if I lose it, right, the weight of losing it has to be something that is of great value to you. Because for some people, believe it or not everything is, there are things that are of great value to all of us, right? All of us, family should matter to all of us. If you're married, if you have children, they should matter to you. If you're in school, high school, varsity or primary, school should matter to you. Getting good grades should definitely matter to you. But there are other things that will be very unique to you, right? Your physical health should absolutely matter to you. Your mental health should absolutely matter to you. But other things will be very personal to you. Like if you're losing your job, it depends. Some people can afford to lose their jobs, others cannot. Losing your career, like in terms of, let's say you were pursuing a career as a footballer, right? Playing soccer. That career might matter to you. It might be something of great significance, or it might not be. Perhaps you were just doing soccer for the sake of pleasing people who thought you were good, right? It happens. There are certain arts things that I'm interested in for me personally that are art related, that are not my identity. I don't care that much about them. I don't consider them to be something of great significance and of great value. And just because something has monetary value, just because it has money attached to it, it doesn't make it automatically make it something of great significance or that it should have great value to you. Because you could be making a lot of money in a certain career, but the job, the working conditions are just not healthy for you as an individual. So it's important for us to also acknowledge that, the fact that the things that you need to improve upon urgently will differ for you based on how valuable the thing you might lose is to you as an individual, or perhaps how valuable the thing is to the people you care about, right? And that's a very good way to measure. Now, getting into what should you actually do in order to improve. Obviously, this will differ based on what it is you're trying to improve. But one of the biggest pieces of advice I want to give, one of them I've already given, right? And it's the fact that create an echo chamber. Read books, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos that speak on how to improve in that particular thing. Surround yourself with people who are in a community that is improving in that thing, which is one of the things I want to do in terms of physical sport. I want to join a community that is always and consistently doing physical and active sports. I want to get into tennis because I've already been invited to do so, and I want to definitely get into playing more badminton, which is the sport that I actually want to improve at. Not because, this is just something I want to improve at, not because if I didn't do it, I would lose something of great significance. Even in finance, if you want to improve in terms of managing your finances, create an echo chamber, and you're gonna have to make the effort of creating an echo chamber. Surround yourself with people who are money savvy, people who are already managing or working on managing their money better, as opposed to friends who just would spend their money in a restaurant on any given day. Another piece of advice I want to give you is take baby steps. Don't be too ashamed to take baby steps. Start work when you're working on improving something that is that damaged, like that is damaged to the point that you might lose something of great significance. You need to, let me make an example with the first example we made, right? With the father or a mother about to lose their children because they've not behaved or showed up for their family, or because they were too tied up to their business or working too hard on their 9 to 5. Let's use that example. Now, if you take someone in that context and you say to them, drop everything and just start being in your kid's life, that's a very good thing. However, what you're not realizing is that you're actually making the process of improvement more difficult and more impractical. Why? Because if I've had a father who hasn't been, or a mother who hasn't been accessible to me, and I'm like 16, 17, or whatever age I might be, if that person starts being there for me if they just come too hard, right, or become a bit too present all at once, it's going to overwhelm me and therefore push me away. So you need to, as a father, work your way back in slowly. Start by telling your kid, can we meet every weekend for ice cream for 30 minutes to an hour, right? As opposed to you now wanting to be with them, drop them off at school Monday to Friday, right? Unless it's what they want. But what I'm trying to say is that you need to look at the circumstances you're under and learn to be okay with progressing slowly. Learn to be okay with progressing, making slow progress and picking up pace over time. That's a very good and okay thing to do. I say this because I know and I understand that when you're in a situation where you've lost control and you have deteriorated in something so much, right, that you're now about to lose something of significance as a result of your own behavior over a long period of time. This means you've developed bad habits surrounding that thing, right? You can easily guilt trip yourself. It's very easy for you to just guilt trip yourself and say, no, I should be working harder. I should be doing more. I should be this. I should be that. Those are the thoughts that will definitely cross your mind. And what I'm trying to do is to get you to understand that it's okay to take baby steps towards progress. Very, very fundamental. So those are the advices I will give you. So first of all, it's to identify the one thing that a certain aspect of your life, the one part of your life that needs urgent improvement. Why? Because if you don't improve on that thing, you might lose something that is of great significance. Whether it's your health, your family, your friends, your job, whatever is of great significance to you at the time, your career, your passion, an activity that creates and stimulates you in a particular way, whatever is of great value to you. So identify that thing. Then sit down and create an echo chamber. Buy books, or even if you're not a person who reads much or you don't enjoy books or reading books on self-help, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos, buy audiobooks instead. So put yourself in a community of people that are already working on improving themselves in that particular thing. That is one of the best things you can do for yourself. And then another thing, learn the value of improving at a one day at a time kind of pace. Rather than, you've never done push-ups before and then you come into the gym and you want to do 100 push-ups. Like, that might not be the best way to approach it. So yeah, I think over a certain period of time, you will then start to see some very significant improvement. And the thing that you were going to lose, you'll start to feel the anxiety of losing it leaving you because you're doing something about it.